Konnichiwa, Nihon Cricket Pod Yokoso. Welcome to the latest edition of the Japan Cricket Podcast. I am Alan Kerr, the COO at Japan Cricket, and with me, as always, although back in Australia, is Mr. Todd Luckhurst. How are you, Toddy?
I'm good, thanks, Alan. S- Sun's out over here for a change. It's been raining for the last couple of weeks, but the weather's starting to warm up, and we've had a month of club cricket, so it's all happening over here.
It was a rare pleasure to actually pod in person last time out, and it's taken us a couple of weeks to get ourselves back together and do another one. We were blessed to have the skipper with us, Kendall Fleming, and we'll see if we can get some more guests on um, before the end of the year. But I guess, Todd, we should probably just kick straight off with the cricket that was going on whilst you were here. I mean, why don't you tell us a little bit about what you got up to and what you did during your whistle stop visit to Japan at the late stages of October?
So I was coming over anyway, and then because of the extend Oman tour with the Japan national team getting through to the Super Six stage of the T20 World Cup qualifiers, I came over a couple of days early to assist with the Japan Cup finals. Of course, everyone was in Oman, so someone had to be there to try and run the tournament. So myself and Chris Thurgate kind of took turns. I was at the SICG, Chris was at the River Grounds, and I say it was a bit of organised chaos, but it was great to see. And really some great cricket. One thing which did surprise me was it's a bit hard when you're from afar to realise how much these, different tournaments mean. Because I know there's a couple of different ones in Japan, but I was quite impressed with the feeling. There was, there's a bit of buzz around and everyone's really into it and there's a lot of passion and captains coming up to me saying they haven't got a scorer. I want to take 5 runs off them, or they've had the field with 10, and I'm saying, well, that's not going to happen. And then they getting upset at me, and I'm getting a bit fiery back, saying, well, that's ridiculous. But it was all in good spirit, and it was really some good cricket actually, and it was good to see teams like Nagoya and that win a couple games, and you know get through the semis, and we had games on both grounds, and all the really grounds there were games, and uh, when you're there and you see it, I understand your frustrations as tournament referee a lot. I see it all the time, and sometimes I'm a bit like, oh yeah, okay, these things are happening, but there is a lot going on. Like it's even like, isn't it, the scores? Missing someone's doing the scores, they missed the dot ball, and then the scores are out, and then someone's saying they missed this, and then you're freaking out because with the way the tournament was and at different grounds, so teams had to move after you know a game and go down the river grounds, and then it's getting dark, as you know. It was getting really dark that time of the year. It's a bit earlier than what I'm used to when I'm in Japan. And when the final was on, it was like they just started bowling second innings, and it was dark, and you could see the lights in the tea room, and I'm freaking out, going, "Oh, this is going to be great. One team's going to appeal for the light. What am I going to do?" But it did all end up really. It was a great weekend of cricket in Japan Cup finals, and it was a really exciting final. Of course, Chiba Sharks played Kobe Hawks, and
I'm gonna
Chiba.
jump in, Toddy, before you get onto that. So first of all, yeah, people care, right? The Japan Cup particularly is one that people have been playing in it throughout the season. It started in like March or whenever it was. So it's a long old tournament getting through to October, and people do really care. I'm glad that you've experienced some of my emotions in terms of being on the other side of that. But what I particularly like, Todd, is that now we've got an extra thing. So, I think when we brought you on at the start of this year as co-host for the pod, we introduced you as sort of, curator, podcaster, commentator, bus driver, and now we can add local tournament director to the list of roles you fill for the JCA. So that's pretty cool. But yeah, of course, the main thing was like for you, it was your first time. You've been involved in Japan cricket for, I don't know, 10 years, 11 years. Your first time doing Japan Cup finals. It's the first one I've missed in 12 years. So yeah, I'm just going to leave it all to you to take us through what happened and the results and yeah, the ups and downs, the highs, the lows. Talk us through it.
Yeah, so yeah, it was great. It was actually great to be a part of it and be involved as, assisting in running the tournament. I can't take much credit. I mean, it was all done before I got there, to be honest. But I was just a part of the puzzle, as I say, and Chris was the other part of the puzzle, and he was down the River Grounds, but he came down for the up to the SLCG for the final, so that was good to see too. So yeah, we had some really good cricket, some interesting results, and we end up getting to the final where we had the Chiba Sharks taking on the Kobe Hawks, and as I said, it was an exciting game, and Chiba Sharks made 133 for nine, and then the Kobe Hawks went out to bat, and about 5 overs in, it was getting pretty dark and
Good toss to
interesting.
win.
You could see the lights. You could see the lights in the tea room. It's always no. That's how you know when it's getting dark in Sano there. And yeah. So Chiba Sharks made 133 for nine, and Kobe Hawks just falling short in the last over. So it went down to the right to the end. To the last ball, last couple of balls, and Hawks played really well. I was really impressed with their bowling. I thought they bowled well. They just fell short by 2 runs, and they got 131 for seven. And honestly, the game was going each way all day. Like every over was something was happening. At one stage I thought the Hawks are, in the prime position. 2 overs later, you're thinking, oh, gee, the Sharks. And then even in, the last 2 overs, it's going either way. And in the end, it was the Chiba Sharks who were just a little bit too strong for the Kobe Hawks, but it was a very exciting match and a great weekend of cricket.
I reckon it's worth revisiting that final over because we were in Oman still, and it was the day after the tournament was ended. So a lot of our guys were watching it or following it as best they could. And I just want to go back. So it was a guy that we all know pretty well, Munib Mian bowling the final over, and they needed what 11 to win, I think. So they needed 11 to win off the last over. No, they needed 14 to win. And there's two buys off the first ball. Then there's single, single. And then the fourth ball of the over goes for six. At which point they need what? They need 4 runs off the last two balls. And then Munib bowls wide, wide. So they now need 2 runs off the last two balls. And then it goes wicket, wicket. And there's a drop catch in there as well, isn't there? I think there was a drop catch on the second ball of the over, which is one of the runs. So yeah, absolute mayhem to sneak home. And the first time a Kansai team's made the final, I think it's worth mentioning that the Kobe Hawks, fair play to them. It's the I think we've had a team finish third before from Kansai, but that's a real credit to show the strength that's coming through down there for them to be able to come up and compete. For a long time, I think the Kansai team struggled to be competitive when they came to Sano for these events, but actually that's definitely something that's changing. So for the Hawks to make it all the way to the final, I think they'll be pretty proud of that and probably wish they'd called differently at the toss, I suspect.
Yeah, no, they were very good Kobe Hawks. I was quite impressed. They had a really strong squad and they had some good bowling, which I was surprised with. But the last over did have it all. Unfortunately, I couldn't really enjoy it too much because I was worried that the scorers were stuffing up the scores, and I thought we can't get to the last ball or the game's over and they've got it wrong. So
This is
and
my
then I'm
life,
trying
mate.
to look at game conditions. What if it's a tie? Do we have a super over? So I'm literally running through everything. But it did have it all, and when he bowled that wide, and I'm going, oh no, here we go.
Yeah,
Something's
super
going to
over in the
happen here.
dark. That would have been a bit of a challenge, wouldn't it?
Would have been interesting, but all well that ends well. But it was a great weekend of cricket, and it was a privilege to be involved in the Japan Cup finals.
Yeah, well, thanks for stepping in, mate. It's couldn't have done it without you. Myself, Dougal, not there, and yeah, a whole load of other people not around. So, really good to have someone like yourself who knows a little bit about cricket administration to be able to step up and help out. And then, following that was a week of preparation for the Embassy Cup, right?
Yeah, we did have a week of preparation for the Embassy Cup where we had good weather leading in, but yeah, unfortunately we got through some cricket, but the
Yeah,
second day the weather
couldn't have
hit. But
really couldn't have really scripted it, could we? It was absolutely glorious weather on the Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then just biblical rain um, for the whole of, well, certainly the whole of Sunday, and Saturday was just drizzle and fairly bleak, wasn't it, all day on the Saturday? But we did manage to get the games on. I'll run through the results quickly. In the Group B in the morning, you had the British Embassy were just undone by the Nepal 11. Nepal got home thanks to a six off the penultimate ball of the game, and then the Aussies were playing the Aussie Kiwi 11 were playing the Bangladeshis. And the Bangladeshis won that by 7 wickets, chased down 72 in 8 overs. In Group A, the Sri Lankan 11 got home against the Indians. That was a high-scoring game. That the Indians made 123 for nine, and the Sri Lankans chased it down after 8.5 overs. So that was on ground two, taking advantage of the small boundaries. Meanwhile, on ground one, we did not have a high-scoring game. Pakistan had made 66 for six against Japan, and Japan then slumped to 50 all out, in which was a pretty disappointing showing from the boys. The afternoon games, Nepal again lost out on or they lost, sorry, this time they were victims of a tight finish, losing out to Bangladesh. The Bangladeshis chasing down 88, coming from nowhere again. I reckon they needed like 14 off the last over and managed to chase that. And then the British Embassy won the Ashes. They beat the Aussie Kiwi team, chasing down 78 with an over and a half to spare. Tim Moore was having a good time with the bat, I noticed. And then over on the final game, final round of games, Japan put a much better performance up against the Indians. They made 127 for two from their 10 overs, runs for Wataru Miyauchi and Sabaras Ravichandran, and then the Indian 11 were bowled out for 69. So Japan bounced back from a disappointing morning with a really good afternoon. Meanwhile, the Pakistanis got their second win of the day. They managed to post 114 against the Sri Lankans and restrict their opponents to just 97. So a lot of results rushed through there. What that actually all means is that the Pakistan team finished top with 2 wins from two, so they were crowned champions after the washout on Sunday. Japan finished second on net run rate, with Sri Lanka third, and that means the Indians, for the first time, finished bottom of Division One. So some soul searching to be done there, and it may well be that they are participating in Division Two next year. And in Division Two, it was the Bangladeshis who, for the first time ever, got the title to their names. So Bangladesh will be playing in Division One next year, and the British MC actually ended up finishing in second place, with the Nepalese third and the Aussie Kiwi team bringing up the rear. So yeah, it was. I don't know, Tolly. It was your first time being involved in that particular event. What did you make of it? Obviously, it was a bit of a damp squib. We had news on the Friday that the festival that was due to take place on Sunday had been cancelled. So a lot of the work, a lot of the preparation that had gone into setting things up was kind of for nothing. And that does mean that there's going to be a lot less people. That being said, there were still a few people around on Saturday. There was still a reasonable atmosphere despite the soggy conditions.
Oh, I think it was, yeah, I mean, unfortunately, like you said, the weather leading up was glorious. It was beautiful. Sun was out every day. The wickets were fantastic. They were going to play well, but and as always, we can't control the weather. Um, the cricket was good. That India Sri Lanka game. So Alan, for those if you saw the stream, you probably saw me and Alan. So we're sitting where the scoreboard is. Alan's watching the game on ground one. I'm watching game two, the game on ground two, because of balls coming over, and we're worried that one of us is going to get hit if we're both watching the same game. And that India Sri Lanka game was good cricket. Like, really, there was some big hitting. I know the boundaries are small, but they were clearing that fence, where that
By miles.
overgrown jungle is, kind of, by a fair way. Like, balls were just flying off the bat, and that was probably the best game that I saw. But the cricket was good. Unfortunately, the weather, damp and everything. It was quite drizzly in the afternoon on the first day, wasn't it? Like, we were sitting there in the rain getting wet, but it was okay. The cricket, they kept
Bats
playing
flying over
as they.
square leg.
Oh, the bats. That's right. The couple of bats went flying. The batsman losing the grip, and me and Alan are kind of sitting there going, "Oh, is the umpire's going to call this off?" But I guess the umpires are kind of like, "There's 3 overs to go. It's a T10. Let's just get on with it," kind of thing. But no one got hurt, and the bowlers were okay. No, there was no worry about anyone slipping over and getting injured. It was just the bats were getting a little bit slippery, the handles. But I think it's, for format wise, it's really hard when you have that many teams. Unless you want to send teams down to the river grounds, and then, like Japan Cup finals, you've got people traveling all over the place, and everyone wants to play at the SICG. Like, that's the other thing. Everyone's got to have a turn to play. Like, I think it's just too hard, or it needs to be for 3 days if you're going to have T20. So I think the T10 works because of the amount of teams, and you don't want to say to one of the teams that you can't play, or two of the teams, I'm sorry, you can't play because we want to change the format if they're all willing to participate. And the teams really do get into it. Um, like the Nepalese team, they were up and about, they were loving it. Like everyone was really into the tournament. The Pakistan team, Bangladesh, like everyone, literally everyone, even the Aussie and the Kiwis and the British Embassy team. So if everyone's willing to participate, I think you probably have to persist with the T10. Yeah, it's a bit of a tough one though, isn't it? Like we did have a discussion about it during one of the games in the afternoon, what the format could be. But yeah, it is a tough one. I think, yeah, as long as everyone wants to participate, it probably has to stay the way it is. But
Yeah, and I
can't
think
control the weather.
the way that the guys go about it, I mean, the teams are all it's a rare chance for them to pull on their national shirt to celebrate the different cultures that exist within Japan, the different nationalities that have a presence here, and that's what it's supposed to be, a bit of a celebration of Japan becoming a bit more of a multicultural place to be, which it hasn't always been. And I think the MC Cup kind of embodies that a little bit. It would be great if some of the teams could. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. Could just tidy up after themselves. The tidy up on Monday was pretty bad, and the tents were pretty horrible. I've stopped myself from sending out a strongly worded email, but I'll save it for next year. But yeah, we need everyone to buy into it and what it is, and to take care of the facility. I mean, I found quite a lot of chewing gum on the grass and stuff like that, which is what just it kind of gives you a negative feeling sometimes, which you don't want when it's raining anyway. So I think that's probably just an education piece, and that's something that we've got to work on because, as you mentioned, a lot of these teams actually don't, or these players at least, don't get to play on the SOCG. They play a lot of their cricket down at the river grounds or elsewhere in Japan, and all the teams I think have participants who come from outside of sort of the main cricket circle in Kanto. So, which is a good thing. Like we want to showcase the SOCG. That's part of what the event is, not just to the public, but to players who don't always get to see it. So we just need to try and make sure that everyone understands that the ground is looking after as well, because ultimately the Sano International Cricket Ground doesn't belong to the JCA, it belongs to Sano City, and we're just custodians of it. So we need to make sure that we're doing our part to take care of it. But it is great to see the teams enjoying themselves as they do and celebrating their cultures. And I know for the Pakistanis and the Bangladeshis, it was a really memorable day's cricket, and nobody complained about playing in the bad weather, so that was really nice. Everyone was just like, we want to get out there, and on Sunday, that was the hardest part on Sunday was everybody wanting to play, and the Nepalese were desperate to try and squeeze into the final, knowing they needed to play their game in the morning. They were getting the buckets and the sponges out. I'm like, guys, it's no point sponging when it's still raining. So yeah, that was part of it. But people want to play, people enjoy it, and as long as that's still the case, long may it continue, I think.
Oh, most definitely. I think it's a good tournament and definitely worth pursuing. I mean, we did try very hard to get the ground up, but as you said, Alan, the rain just did not stop, and it was quite relentless overnight. And when we got there in the morning, I think you sent me a message and said, "What's it like?" And I was like, "Oh, it's not good." But unfortunately, we can't control the weather. We've had this problem a few times before in the past, but that's
And you
just
just couldn't script it. I mean, like I said, the week leading up was fantastic, and the week afterwards fantastic. Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, absolutely glorious, warm, sunny, bright. Would have been perfect. It was literally the 2 days of the event itself just rained. That to be fair, I reckon that was I reckon it was the sixth Embassy Cup. Might even be the seventh. I'm not sure. And it's the first time it's been impacted by weather. So
okay.
it's normally a pretty good time to be hosting an event like that. And we just got all of our bad luck in one go this year. So yeah, it is what it is. But at least there was some cricket played, and at least people managed to make the most of it whilst they were there. So probably time to move on from the Embassy Cup and on to the JCL. Todd, you were gone by this stage, but the Japan Cricket League has finally reached its conclusion. And although it was the Chiba Sharks or although it was Alpha Quashers who finished top of the table and unbeaten, once again that wasn't enough to get the title. And the Chiba Sharks have completed a double. Do you want to run through how they got that?
Yeah, so the Chiba Sharks are the 2025 Japan Cricket League champions. So the Chiba Sharks won their fourth Japan Cricket League title and their first since 2021 to become the joint most successful team in JCL history. The
I'm going to
Wimbledon's
stop
in
you, Todd.
past.
I'm going to stop you. Can you tell me who the other ones are? If it's their fourth, without reading down your notes or my notes, do you know the teams that have also got four JCL Division One title wins?
Well, I'm going to say I saw the notes. I knew one of them was the Tigers. I
No, it's not.
didn't. Oh, moves them part. Okay, so the Tigers have won three.
Tigers have won three.
Um, let me think. The Wombats.
Tokyo Wombats, yeah, they won the first four titles, and they haven't won one
Oh,
since. Tokyo Wombats are indeed still hanging on to their so last bit of remaining glory that they can cling to is that they still hold the record for the most JCL Division One titles, joint now with the Chiba Sharks and one other team.
mm,
Silence on
Max.
podcast is always good. No, not Max. I was surprised. Max have only got
Oh,
two. Max won back-to-back titles, and that was their lot. No, the team that they beat, Sano Cricket Club. So had Sano
so.
won, they'd have gone outright leaders with five. So yeah, Sano Cricket Club were there with four. So I'll let you get back to reading your notes because as you read down, you might find that you're repeating what I just said.
So the Sharks finished the regular season in second place, having lost just once all season, and stormed past the 2024 winners Tokyo Falcons in the semi-final. Their batting firepower was enough to get them across the line in the final, with captain Dougal Bedingfield leading the way with 61 as his team made 216 for 9 from their 40 overs. He was supported by Nikhil Pole, who scored 53 as part of an opening partnership of 108, which served to set things up. I did catch the, I did was watching bits and pieces of the, I saw the stream on the Chiba Sharks Facebook page, and I had some good commentary with Chris Thurgate and Nicholas Crease
Really?
jumping on the comms, which was interesting. I did speak to Nicholas on Sunday, and I said the commentary was good, but you could have moved away from all the supporters. And he actually said to me that they did contemplate moving to the other end of the ground because it was too loud. And he said they just told everyone to shut up, but it didn't work too well. So I thought yeah, the Sharks batted well. I thought you know, the game being on ground two was no different to it being on ground one, to be totally honest. If people, I'm not sure if there's any feedback on that, but I thought the wicket played well. I thought the ground was fine and there's no issue. I understand there was a pre-arranged event on the ground one because of the games getting pushed back because of the heat. That's what it was, wasn't it?
No, it was because of the rain. So
Oh,
semi-finals weekend, the Saturday of the Division One semi-finals got washed out. So it meant that and all the other semi-finals went ahead. So it meant that the only comp that was delayed was Division One. So they had to play the semi-finals on the day that the final was scheduled, which then meant they had to use this weekend um, for the Division One final. But there was already another event scheduled with 100 odd people coming for social cricket on ground one. So that meant the game got bumped to ground two, which just made streaming meant we couldn't stream properly. So it was great that the Sharks took the initiative and set up their own stream. Um, and I'm sure they got permission from the tournament organisers to do that. So that was up there, and at least able people to follow it because you do want to be able to, it's the tournament, it's the showpiece of the season, and we do want to be able to get people people coming to watch. It's great that there were supporters there that you've just mentioned, and I know there was a following online as well. So yeah, good that they were able to do that, and hopefully it'll be back on ground one next year.
so moving to the Sharks bowling, Sano batted. So the Sharks had Ben Ito Davis to thank for helping to bowl Sano out for just 146. The Japanese off-spinning all-rounder grabbed 3 for 18 to secure a 70-run win for his team and spark major celebrations as the club completed the JCL and Japan Cup double for the first time in their history. Is that the first time someone's done the double L? And this is a bit of a question without notice here.
Definitely not, mate. So I reckon Sano did it three times in a row, and the Tigers did it recently. So a couple of years ago, they did the double double. Um, So and amazingly, we didn't touch on this. It was Chiba Sharks' first ever Japan Cup win. They'd never won Japan Cup finals before, which I was really surprised about. So for a club that's been around as long as they have and had the players they've had, I was pretty surprised that they'd never won the Japan Cup. So to do that and then to back it up with a JCL title as well makes it for a pretty good year for those guys, and fair play to them. They've done some good recruiting over the last couple of years, brought in some handy players. Guys like Nikhil Paul, Manav Nagarajan have come across from other clubs within Japan and have played a pretty big role. And obviously someone like Ben being in the team has really helped out as well with the stalwarts like Manib still being there, Marcus Thurgate behind the stumps. There's a few familiar faces along with guys like that, and I know Gufran Mir put in a pretty big showing in the semi-final. I think he hit like 65 off 30 balls or something in the semi-final to take the game away from the Falcons, and then Buvith. I forget his last name, but Buvith also did really well in the semi-final. And this is a guy who was playing in Men in Blue thirds last year and couldn't get a game in the twos, and he's come in and played a pretty important role in the first team at the Sharks and helped them win the title. So it shows that there is some hidden talent out there in Japan. Just needs someone to recognise it. And I know that the Sharks have brought across guys like Abhi Predewan and Rahul Kool who probably know that community a bit better and enabled them to find someone like Buvith as well. So the Sharks, yeah, they're one of the major clubs in Japan, and to see them doing the double is testament to the work that they do in both developing their own players, and there's always plenty of young players there. Nikhil's there, and Timmy Moore's there, and of course it was great to see Tsuyoshi Takada, who's been an MVP and I think their last two JCL final wins, but he was there contributing as well. I think he hit his first ball for six. So, great to see Japan national team players in that winning team.
Yeah, well done to the Chiba Sharks. They're very active on the socials too. So I see them their Instagram and Facebook pages, and they're very good at promoting what they do. And they, got the just reserves winning both tournaments this year. So well done to them. Elsewhere in the JCL, the Tigers earned a record extending sixth Division Two title, defeating Kawasaki Knight Riders in the final by 100 runs, which was a good result for them. A win for KKR would have been their first ever JCL title, but that wait was ended later that day when the Division Three team secured a 7-wicket win over the Tokyo Star Kings. It was a weekend for redemption, though, as the Star Kings themselves were still able to celebrate their win, winning the JCL Division 4 title with a comfortable 10-wicket win over Men in Blue. Congratulations to all teams, and we look forward to announcing all the individual award winners, which will be at the JCA Annual Awards in Tokyo on Saturday, the 6th of December.
Yeah, it's always a good night, that one. Looking forward to getting down there and seeing the community, and yeah, hopefully celebrating with a few guys guys and girls who have had particularly good years. I think that it's worth having a look at some of the individual stats. Toddy, you're normally our stats man. Have you been able to have a look at any outstanding performances from this year?
So I'm just waiting for my page to load.
Throwing it under the bus. I actually had
No,
a
no,
look at the leading run scorers, and I was pleasantly surprised to see Benito Davis as the leading run scorer in Division One this year. There's about 340, 350 runs I think he's made. So a good year for Ben with the bat, and there he was chipping in with the ball in the final as well. He's taken however many wickets this year too. So a good year for Ben.
Definitely. Ben Ito, 341 runs. Actually, the Sharks no one had a good year. They had three of the top four. Then we had Tsuyoshi Takada with 316 runs, Abhishek Anand for the Tokyo Falcons, 284 runs, and Gufran Mir for the Chiba Sharks again with 265. So three of the top four there in the batting. We look at the bowling. We had Ashish Jaiswal for the Men in Blue with 24 wickets. Rashid Rafiq for the Max got 22 wickets. And rounding out the top three was Zubir Khan for Sano picking up 20 wickets. Good effort by all.
Yeah, I cast my eye a bit further down. I saw Kohei Kubota was still up there in the leading wicket takers list as he often is in the JCL. I think he was a few further down the list this year, but good to see him contributing. And yeah, good year for Zubair Khan, showing that yeah, he's really settling into a role at Sano Cricket Club, and yeah, actually, Shaishwal's a good bowler, and the men in blue leans pretty heavily on him this year, and good for him to be 24 wickets is a good number.
Definitely. One notable stat I realised in Division Two batting, having a look earlier, was Kuldeep Bisht. I'm not sure much, I don't know anything about Kuldeep Bisht for the Tokyo Falcons second 11. He played 4 matches, batted 4 times, and made 433 runs with one not out. So it's a fair
Yeah,
effort.
he's pretty much club chairman and plays most of his games in the ones. So I think that's a good example of a ones player just dropping down to Div 2 when perhaps he couldn't make a game in Division 1 that weekend, and played the next weekend in Div 2 and cashed in. His eldest boy is in the under 16 squad at the moment, I think. But Kuldeep's been around a long time, one of the familiar faces around Japan cricket scene. Does a lot of work behind the scenes as well, running his club, and I think he helps out occasionally with the regional stuff too. So, yeah, I'm sure he's enjoyed his time playing in Division Two. So you wonder how much more he'll play next year.
Looks like he definitely enjoyed it, smashing him around in Div 2. But good on him. He made the most runs, 400 on, 4 hits. Can't do much more than that.
Now, Todd, you're going to ask me. I've seen what's next on our list, and I was partway through telling you a story before we came on, and I said I'd save it for the uh, for the pod itself. You're asking me how my week's been. Well, the under 19 team are very excited. They're looking forward to traveling for the ACC Premier Cup, which will start next week. They'll be flying out of here on Tuesday. It's a tournament that's been a long time coming. We've been chasing the dates and the venue and the information about this tournament really since sort of June. We were told that the tournament would take place in October. We finally got a communication from the ACC on the 22nd of October, telling us that the dates would be the 19th to the 30th of November. So, sort of around 3.5 weeks' notice to get the boys time off school and get some flights organised and find staff and all of that. So that's been a challenge, but we've managed to get that done. And then yeah, I actually got the dates and I checked with them. I asked, the dates 19th to the 30th, is the 30th the departure date, or is that the day of the final? And they confirmed that the 30th was indeed the day of the final. So, the ACC, they always said you leave after your final match. So if you don't make it through the group stages, I think we've discussed this before with the under 16s earlier in the year. If you don't make it through the group stages, you leave after your last game, and they don't pay for any accommodation beyond that. So I wanted to clarify, and I kind of decided that we would just stay to the end. If things didn't go away and we don't make it through the group stage, well, the under 19s have still got a World Cup to prepare for, so they could stay behind in Dubai and do some extra training. So I made sure we booked flights for the day after the final. And then on Monday this week, the fixtures finally came out. I was walking home actually. I was just got off the train and I was walking back to my house in the dark. I got an email on my phone having a look, and saw that the tournament handbook had come through. I was like, oh, great, I'll have a look. I'm looking at the fixtures, I'm looking at our teams, and excited to see who we've got this year. We're seeded third, so much nicer draw than we had 2 years ago when we had both Malaysia and Hong Kong in our group, which was pretty tough. But we managed to top that group, and now seeded third. That means we've got the Maldives, Oman, and Qatar. So a few familiar faces in that group, having just played both Qatar and Oman at the men's competition just last month. But I was a little bit shocked when I saw that the final was scheduled for the 1st of December, which, yeah, is the day that we're flying out. So got in touch with the ACC and they're like, yeah, we've just changed it. Um, okay, so they changed it after a week after telling us and allowing everyone to book their travel. They moved the day of the final back, and they didn't highlight that in any communication. They just sent the handbook with the fixtures, and you just kind of had to figure it out yourself. So that was a bit of a shock, and I have been communicating with them to see if there's anything that can be done. If because the 30th is just a rest day. Now, for whatever reason, they're unable to play games on that day. So, as we were coming on, I was asking you to hold on while I finished writing an email. So, I'm currently scribbling an email which I'll send to all the parents to say, yeah, your kids are going to come back a day later, and it's going to cost us another 500,000 yens worth in changing flights. And the ACC will be receiving an invoice, which I hope they will pay for those flight changes, because that's certainly not something that we'd budgeted for, and is not something that we can be held accountable for. So yeah, frustrations of dealing with the Asian Cricket Council. I can't fault the amount of cricket that they organise, and there was actually news on social media filtering around this week about some extra tournaments that they'd announced for the coming cycle. Two new tournaments. One was a Legends League, which is, I'm sure, exactly what everybody needs, and the other is something for associate teams. I didn't really look at it because, to be honest, I was so shocked to see ACC planning more tournaments when, let's be honest, I'm not sure they're doing an excellent job in running the ones that they're putting on at the moment. They, the tournaments themselves are fine, and there's rarely any issues with how the tournaments are played. It's just the timing of the information and the communication is just so difficult. And I think there's that lack of understanding that Japan are 10 hours away from where any tournament is played. And so we need to book flights in advance. And, the flight cost for Japan to go to Dubai this time is the best part of 25,000 US dollars. Um, and that's a lot of money. And so, when you factor that in, um, I'm sure all the other teams are probably playing 10% of that for their
Mm.
travel. So we want to be part of these things, and we'd budgeted for that tournament to be in Malaysia, so that would have been probably about half the price in terms of flights. Um, so we want to be part of these, but the way that the tournament organizers communicate just puts us in a really sticky position. But at the same time, they are providing lots of cricket for our boys and girls. It's excellent development opportunities, chances to play against some of the best teams in the region, chances to show that Japan cricket is not just strong at senior men's level, but there's a lot of talent coming through. So really excited to see what the boys can do. As I mentioned, we've got the Maldives up first, and then we'll play against Oman and Qatar. If we win that group, we will come up against the winners of Group B. So we're in Group C, and Group B is the UAE group. So looking forward to hopefully facing off against them again. We've played them a couple of times over the last few years. Chance to sort of measure up where we are against such a strong associate team. Of course, we played them in the men's twice over in Oman recently as well. So it'll be a good opportunity, and fingers crossed we can get another Asia Cup qualification under the belt. It's a strong squad that we've named, and certainly there's extra intrigue around that squad as we move towards the World Cup itself. I'm not sure if I don't think we've actually been able to get the squad announcement out yet because we didn't feel like we could announce it until we actually had the dates of the tournament. So now that we've got those, I think hopefully something on social media will be going up pretty soon. But I'm happy to run through it with you now if you like, Todd, if you want to see what the squad is.
Let's do it, mate. I mean, I know there's many frustrations with the ACC. These things seem to happen every time there's a cricket tournament, to be honest.
Yeah, yeah, they do. Yeah, and that's the thing is that I specifically checked what the departure date would be this time because we have had problems with it before, and was told point blank, yeah, the finals are on the 30th of November, and then 2 weeks later they're not. But yeah, it is what it is, I guess, which is something that we have to live with. But yes, back to the squad. So unfortunately, Nikhil Paul has had to withdraw due to commitments with his university. So Kazuma Kato Stafford will lead the team in an official capacity for the first time. He's captained the team a few times in Nikhil's absence in the odd game, but he'll be taking charge of the whole tour this time. Bit of a Brisbane-based squad going alongside him, so he'll know plenty of the boys. Hugo Tani Kelly, of course, is in the squad. Charlie Harrahims, of course, is another representative from the men's team. And Charlie's two brothers, the twins, Monty and Gary Harrahims, are both in. So Monty's first call up to the under 19 senior squad. Likewise, a new player, Taylor Waugh, is someone that we've been keeping tabs on for much of this year. We only really found out about him after the Futures League. He didn't know much about Japan cricket, but there's an exciting batter who's coming into the group. From Cairns, Kai Wall will be joining. He's been on plenty of tours, and Kaisei Kobayashi Doggett from Sydney. Nihal Palmer will be coming out from Auckland. Skylar Nakayama Cook from Heathrow, and he'll be joined by Alex Watanabe Dawson. So Alex Watanabe Dawson's an interesting one. He was named in the very first academy squad back in 2022 when he was at school at the British school in Tokyo. But unfortunately, he actually had to withdraw from the squad after his parents suddenly decided to up sticks and move back to Scotland, um, where he's been residing and playing his cricket for the last few years. But came back this summer, said he's keen to get back involved, and has earned himself a place back in the academy squad and in this team. So he's a off-spinning all-rounder. So we'll be seeing what he can do. And then Ryuki Ozeki retains his place, as does Chihaya Sakine, the two Sano boys. And then the last place in the squad goes to Ariane Waduge. Ariane's been someone who's wasn't eligible, unfortunately, to play in the World Cup qualifiers, but went on the pre-qualifiers tour to Singapore as part of his development, and he has been given approval to participate this time around, and is eligible also for the Under-19 World Cup. So he gets an opportunity to press his case for selection, given that both Nikhil Pol and Tim Moore had made themselves unavailable for this trip. So yeah, there's going to be a few places up for grabs, places to play for, and it's always a risk when you miss a tournament. I know that Tim's certainly disappointed to be missing. Likewise, Maxi and Carolyn just missed out this time around. Tom O'Rear has made himself unavailable for this tournament and the World Cup. Just with school the way he is, he's in his A-level year, and he just couldn't miss that much time to play cricket. He needs to get his studies done. So Tomo's replaced as well. So yeah, it's four new faces, and it means that there's yeah, going to be some new faces playing in that World Cup. So a lot on the line for these boys. It's not just about qualifying for the Asia Cup. It's about showing that they're ready to go and compete in Namibia. So an exciting tournament, and it will be great to watch. And I'm sure all the games will be on the ACC's YouTube channel. So looking forward to seeing the boys in action.
Yeah, good to well done to those new boys in the squad. Congratulations, and hope you all go well.
A lot of
Yeah,
boys in that squad, I was sorry just to say, Toddy, a lot of boys in that squad who've played in the under 16s, actually six of the 14 took part in the under 16s tournament earlier this year. So still a young team, still plenty of more opportunities for those kids. It's exciting, right? And that you've got eight of those players will probably age out of the next cycle, but there's still six who are going to be ready for the next under 19 cycle. So Japan Cricket's youth programs are going well, and it's good to know that there's this depth and talent coming through.
definitely great pathways coming through the under 16s and all through the junior cricket pathways. And as you said, we can have six players next time going to the next qualification stage and hopefully get to the next World Cup. It's very exciting. And great preparation for the World Cup coming up next year in February, Alan?
January. So just
January.
finalising a few things around that now. We still can't announce who we're playing. I'm a bit surprised that the ICC haven't made the announcements yet. So I still have to keep my lips sealed on that front. But I think with this tournament being as late as it is, we've been umming and ahhing about what we're going to do as part of our World Cup preparation, and perhaps that's a story for another podcast. But yeah, this is going to be great preparation for the boys. A chance to go and play a minimum of three matches, hopefully five. And of course, the carrot is if they get through, then there's an Asia Cup, which will be another three matches at least. Wherever that is and whenever that is, we don't know, but it would probably take place before the World Cup. So, not much schooling for these boys, but I don't think they mind that. Maybe their parents do, maybe their teachers do, but I think the boys themselves are pretty happy with it.
Oh, of course, they're going to World Cup, so they just want to play as much cricket as they can.
Absolutely.
Um, Other news, I saw that Charlie had a bit of a day out recently, Alan, or a couple of days out by the looks of things.
Well, he did. I mean, Charlie, yeah, talking about getting the preparation in. So the team that Charlie was playing in was I think it was a Taverners under 17s team, and it was fourth against fifth in the league that season. So a strong team, and not Charlie's not the only Japanese boy in that team. You had Hugo, Taylor, I think maybe Gabby was playing in it. Kaz might even been playing in it as well. But yeah, batting first, Charlie Hallahins made 99 before running himself out, trying to get back on strike. Was run out by a direct hit as he was trying to get his first ever 100. It was funny actually. Sabarish put a message in the Japan team line group saying Charlie's nearing his 100th, first ever 100, boys, if you want to see it. So everyone jumps on the live stream to watch and sees him get run out. And I just think it's typical, of course. I was very close to sending a message just saying, no worries, Charlie, just take five for in the second innings and you'll feel better. I didn't send that Um, and he went and took 6 for 4, and bowled a team all out for 7. And there's been a bit of chat around. Can you think of any team, Toddy, that's been bowled out for less than 7? I can't. I was once 12th man for a team at under 12 level that got bowled out for 10. So it doesn't say much about me in that I couldn't get into that team. But even Mongolia managed to get to 10 against us, and I think there might have been some women's teams in Africa maybe that got bowled out for single digits, but I can't think of too many. I mean, the Sydney Thunder got bowled out for 15 once, but bowled out for 7 is pretty tough day. But for Charlie, yeah, I think he was pretty happy with his day out all in all. Gutted about the 100, but you're going to take 99 and 6 for, aren't you?
Oh, of course. I played a junior game. I reckon it was under 12s where we bowled the other team out for 9, but I can't. Seven. No, I don't think I can think of a team making less than 7 anyway. Maybe there's been a 7 here and there, but yeah, no, it's definitely a low score. But as you said, the Thunder made 15 one day, so what, 7?
Yeah.
So
Cricket's
half
a
what they
funny
made.
game. Yeah, yeah,
And then we've
absolutely.
got Juto, Ben and Nonoha. Sorry, if I pronounced the name right. At Maribyrnong Sports Academy at the moment.
Yeah, have you seen them yet?
No,
Your
I'm going to
local.
contact Ben. I'm going to get in contact with Ben and maybe see if they want to go out for dinner next week. I might take them out for dinner. So,
Yeah,
but
probably
no, I
worth
haven't
just
been in contact.
explaining a little bit about what that is. We have a partnership with Maribyrnong Sports Academy, which has been in place probably for about 7 or 8 years. Marcus Thurgate was the first to go. Leon Malig went, and then during COVID, it kind of stopped. And we've revisited that partnership this year. An old friend of Japan cricket, Dean Russ, is there now, and Duncan Harrison does a fair bit of coaching there too. So I connected with them and said, look, we can get this partnership back up and running, and signed a new MOU earlier this year. Um, and then this particular thing came about through the Tokyo Metropolitan Government sports grants. So they have funds available. There's very specific remit on who can qualify for the grant. You have to be in education within the Tokyo metropolitan area, and you have to have already represented your country in some capacity. So there are a few other people eligible that we discussed, but maybe there's a certain amount of funding per person, and we thought 3 was probably the right number, and that enabled us to send Ben as well to go and look after those two. So Juto's obviously an English speaker, so good experience for him to go and play some games on turf. And for Nonaha, she's always very keen to get any experience that she can. And Duncan's got very strong connections in women's cricket there, so he's been able to. They do a lot of training during the week at school, a lot of sports science stuff, and a lot of the sort of behind the scenes work that athletes go through in terms of their development. But there's not a lot of match play options with the school, and so Duncan's been setting up the guys with that. So Nonaha will be playing, Juto will be playing, and I think even Ben's going to get hopefully with the first grade stuff with Duncan's local club. So a worthwhile trip for all of them. I think it's only going to be a couple of weeks, but yeah, just an opportunity for them to get a bit of extra cricket in towards the end of the season, and a different sort of coaching environment, different input from new people, and just see a little bit about what they what the level is over in Australia, and how they can hopefully take some good habits back and bring them back into their own games, and share them with some of their teammates too.
Yeah, it's definitely worthwhile. In my normal job, as I call it, Alan, I do manage the sports field on the outside of the Maribyrnong College. It's called Robert Barrett Reserve, and that's one of my grounds because that's my council that I work for. So yeah, know a fair bit about Maribyrnong Sports Academy. So they, as you said, they are a bit different to some other schools in Melbourne, like private schools or colleges like that, where they don't play for their school. They just play club cricket. Whereas other schools, they play for their school on Saturdays. That's kind of their club cricket during the cricket season, and then they will train it. If they're playing higher grade or something in the afternoon, they might do that, or if not, they just play for their school and that's it. So I'll get in contact with Ben and see if he's playing this weekend, and might head out and have a look.
Yeah, good on them. Cool. Have we got anything else, or are we just about wrapping up? Todd? I think I was going to ask you about the JCA socials. something I was going to mean to see what you thought. The JCA have been very active over the month around Oman. Lots of stuff on our social media. We actually had an agreement with an outside company to come and run our socials for 30 days. So I just wanted to get your take on what you made of it and how you thought what was the outsiders the view of what was being posted and how it looked, the feel and the engagement that we were getting.
That was great. I thought, gee, Alan's busy over there. He's team manager. He's running all the socials. He's doing everything. But I didn't know that you had outside. No, I thought it was fantastic. I think there should be more of it if you can get these things going with people assisting to do them. I know it's very hard. Don't take anyone on tour to do media or social media. It's up to obviously yourself who does what you can when you can do it. So no, I think it's worthwhile continuing, and it was great. There was things up, before tosses, during games. The vision of training, and I thought it was fantastic.
Yeah, it was a
Well
lot of stuff.
worthwhile.
So to give you an idea, our Instagram page normally gets about 1 million um, engagements or views across a month. And across the month of mid-October to no, sorry, from mid-September to mid-October, so sort of the end of the time in Oman and 30 days prior to that, we had something like 61 million views on our Instagram account. So yeah, the guys definitely got a few things right, and were able to hopefully get Japan cricket in front of a few new faces. So yeah, always exciting. And anyone who's new to Japan cricket, please do go and follow us on socials and keep track of what the boys and the girls are doing. I think that's us
No,
done for the day, Todd.
I think that is, mate. Thanks everyone for listening. It's good to do. And I don't know, when we want to do the next one.
Yeah, we'll probably do a final one after the awards night. I always like doing one then. We'll probably wrap up the Premier Cup as well. The Premier Cup will finish on the 1st of December as discussed. The awards are on the 6th, so maybe squeeze one in between, or we'll as soon as the Premier Cup finishes, we'll be straight into the World Cup previews and potentially an Asia Cup preview. Who knows? So yeah, there's still just because the season's over doesn't mean the cricket's stopping.
We will
But thanks
continue
to
on.
everyone.
Sure.
We will. Thanks to everyone for tuning in. Thanks for the support. And yeah, we'll be in touch. Otsukare sama deshita.